Good morning, Crafty Friends. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do these while I talk. But Rochelle, the Delightful Crafter, tagged me in a little thing called 10 Crafty Things About Me, and she told 10 crafty things about her, and then she challenged 4 ladies to tell something about these 10 things about themselves. So it's just kind of a way that we can get to know each other a little better and talk. Okay, so before I start, I'm going to show you how I did these. Okay, so I showed this morning, and this is the kind of this, I don't know what this is called. Anyway, it was on these headbands at the Dollar Tree, and I thought it was awesome, so I got it. And then I thought, I wonder if I can make like a rosette with it, or, And so I cut it in 3-inch strips, tied it together in the middle, and then pulled the end of it, and it makes this crazy, I don't know, I love it. And then you can pull it in different places, or squeeze it. It's like a Chinese finger torture thing, but and it makes lumps and bumps. So you know how we are. So I go back and I find this. Okay, so the difference in the circumference of these is there's quite a bit of difference, but still I think it looks really cool. And this has got that sparkle in it. So anyway, while I'm talking to you, I'm going to cut some of these and show you how easy it is to make them. Okay, so the first question is, what's your name? My name is Susan Tucker. That's my maiden name. That's my married name. My maiden last name was Stem, like the flower. Not that common, but that was my name. And apparently when I was born, my mother wanted to name me Polly. So, I don't know. I got Susan. And that's a pretty simple name, so I guess that's okay. I don't know that I look like a Polly. I don't know what a Polly looks like. So anyway, that's my name. Then the next question is, how did you get your YouTube name? Which is Susan Tootsie Tucker. Well, my grandbabies call me Tootsie. And when I decided to start this YouTube adventure, they were like, it should be Tootsie. They just want it to be Tootsie. And I was like, well, maybe we should add a little something to that, like my name. So anyway, that's how it came to be. And, that's who I am. That's who I am. That's about all I got for that one. Okay. My favorite craft types. I think I must have skipped one. I don't know. Anyway, my favorite craft types. Okay, well, I love to do everything. I do a lot of card making because I make cards for my church. I was in a service one Sunday, and God tagged me and said, girl, you're it. This is what I want you to do. Get after it. And, when God speaks to you, you listen. So I got in contact with some leaders at the church, and they connected me with our care coordinator, and I had lunch with her, and I said, I feel like God has pointed me in this direction, and I want to put personal back, a handmade card, and then from there I want it to go to an individual at the church who knows of a specific need for a church member or anybody that they know. I mean, I don't care. And then they add, I leave the inside blank, and they add their own message. So it goes from God's creation through my hands to the next person who chooses that special card for a special person for a special reason, and then adds another, personal message. Okay? And so she was like, okay, well, are you looking for a job? And I'm like, no, that's not it. And she was a little confused, I think. But I just kept saying, it's my service. It's what I want to do. So, long story short, I make about 100 cards a month for my church, and it has been the biggest blessing I could ever ask for. It's a huge church. I live in Collierville, which is a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee. And so you know the size of that. Well, there's a main campus in Memphis, and then there's a Collierville campus, which is the one that I attend. And so there's a lot of people. And so my cards have the opportunity to touch a lot of people. And so when I started making them, she would take them to meetings, and spread them out on the table. And now they've made a place in the office where each type of card hangs, like encouragement, congratulations, sympathy, happy birthday. And one of the things that's so cool about it is that she said that everybody that comes in looking for a card, it's like, they start looking, and then there's a card there that to them feels like it was made for that person. And, and so that's such a gift to me, because that's my service. That's what I have been led to do. And so after a couple months, I still had not actually come in physical contact with anyone who I knew had received one of my cards. And so we were at it was actually an Easter service at the main campus, and I saw a girl that I used to work with. I used to be a assistant manager at Kohl's department store before grandbabies. And so we were talking, and she goes to the main campus. And so we were talking, and, she was saying, well, so, you're just keeping the babies now? And I'm like, yeah. And so then I told her about the cards, and she said, wait a minute. So she teaches Sunday school there, and she said, so you mean to tell me that the card that you made me, the card that I got for my birthday from the Sunday school director, was made by you? And I said, I don't know. It could have been, but I sign every card on the back, made with love, in the year. And she said, I don't ever keep a card, ever. And I kept this one because there was something special about it. So when she got home, she went and looked, and she sent me a picture of it, and sure enough, I had signed the back of it. And that was just like God saying, okay, girl, here's your proof, It's you're doing exactly what you're following my lead. And since then, other people have come to me and told me, and it's just a wonderful thing. So anyway, back to my questions. That's what I do the most of. However, I love to do everything, and I always have. When I was probably 6 or 7, back in that day. Your mom didn't work. You played outside all summer. You figured out stuff to do. You made something to do. And so, my mom always sewed, and she taught me how to embroidery. That was the first thing. And so I taught my best friend how. And we made patches because then, it was big to have patches on your jacket or your jeans or whatever. And so we made patches and sold them to the neighborhood kids for $0.25. And we thought we were something. And so, it went from, every kind of craft. We would make furniture for our Barbies out of tissue boxes and, whatever. Whatever, we'd make it, we'd decorate it. My mom would give us scraps of material. We'd use paper, everything. So creativity and making and using my hands has always been my jam in one form or another. But that being said, I never took art in school, which I think is so bizarre now. But I always played sports. So, it was kind of sports or art for your electives. And so I always played sports. So I guess that's why. But man, I wonder how different things would have been had I taken art, and how if I'd have had any kind of education in art, because everything that I do is just because I do it. It's gifts from God. It's not, and that's it. That's all. That's it. That's all I got. So anyway, okay. So there we go with that. Now, my favorite craft type. I guess that was it. So I do everything. I do paper crafts. I refinish furniture. I repurpose furniture. My husband said if it's sitting still, she's going to do something with it. I'm notorious for picking stuff up off the side of the road and bringing it home. And I got myself into a little trouble doing that one time because, okay, so how there was a phase when everybody was doing stuff with these vintage suitcases, okay? So I was at my mom's, and the people across the street had this awesome suitcase on the side of the road. And I'm like, oh, and it's like dusk. And I said, I'm going to go get that suitcase. And of course my mom's laughing, And Ronnie, my husband, is like, you are not going over there and getting that suitcase. And I'm like, oh yes. Oh, but yes. And that's another thing. Don't ever tell me that I either can't do something or won't. Because sooner or later, it's going to happen. And not in a vengeful or bad way. It's just, if I get something in my head, then that's where it is. And I can't shake it. So anyway, I slither over there. Why I slither, I don't know, because it's almost dark, and that's what you do in the dark, right? And I get this suitcase, and I bring it back, and I'm so excited, and it's so cool, and it's like that vintage green, and just everything about it is amazing. I open it up, and it's filled with bloodstains. I'm hoping that an animal got in there maybe and had babies, like, a litter of cats. I don't know. I never found out. I closed that suitcase up quick. I slithered back over to the other side of the road and put it right back where I found it. See, this stuff happens to me. So much so that one time, my so thoughtful husband found this statue on the side of the road, and he thought it would be hysterical. It was like of Zeus or something, and his nose was broken off. It was a huge concrete statue, people. And he brings it home to me, and he said, well, you pick up everything else. I thought you might like to do something with this. I said, leave the roadside finds to me, okay? So, anyway. So, needless to say, I do everything. My best friend gave me a table that belonged to her mother, like a coffee table. It had a, people don't really have coffee tables anymore, but it's like the length of the sofa, or a little bit shorter, and it was it's a very nice table. I mean, it's upstairs right now. So the inside of it had like a little indented place, and so I carved that out till it was smooth, and then I took those flat back marbles, and I made a pattern of all different colors of these marbles, and then I poured clear resin over the top of it, and I painted the table black. So I don't know. I think it's pretty fabulous. So, I mean, that's the kind of things. I see something, it says do this, I do it. That's how it is. Okay. Also, here's something you don't know about me. When I lived in Fayetteville, Tennessee, which is it's right on the Alabama-Tennessee line. It's a neighboring county to Lynchburg, for all of those people who know Jack Daniels. It's a neighboring little city, rural community. I was a school secretary for about 11 years. I have some funny stories that go along with that, but I won't share those today. I'll save those for another time. Anyway, whenever they wanted anything painted decorative in the school, I was like, oh, I think I can do that. So I'd paint whatever it was, Our mascot was a hornet. I painted that, in the gym, humongous. I painted in the locker rooms. I painted in the classrooms. I painted everywhere. So anyway, there was a local store called Bluebird's Cafe that had it actually started out as a cotton mill, and it became a store, and it had been there for years and years and years. And they were making half of it a country store and half of it, or like a convenience store, really, and the other half a restaurant. And so they had this picture of what it looked like back in the day of when it was a cotton gin, and it had there was a wagon in front of it, and it had it was a black and white picture, and it was very difficult to see detail. But anyway, they wanted me to paint that on a whole wall, life size. So I was like, okay, I think I can do that. So I did. And, you're always your worst critic of your own work. But we were in there eating one night, and this little old lady came up to me, and she said, did you paint that mural? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, I want you to know that that's my brother in that wagon, and I would have known him anywhere. And I was like, well, it rocked my socks, what better thing to know than, that somebody recognized the photograph. Because she had no idea, and I had no idea who she was, and I had no idea who the men were in the picture. So anyway, that was a true gift. Then later, they asked me to paint a wall in their museum, which was another awesome thing. So I did that. So, that's saying that I just don't say no that I can't, and I'll just keep on till I get it right. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do in the world, not just with crafting, with everything. They're just like, oh, can't try that. You got to try. You just got to try. And keep trying. Don't give up. You never know. You never know. Okay, let me go on. My favorite place to shop, Tuesday morning. Now, we have Hobby Lobbies here, which, don't get me wrong, I love a Hobby Lobby. And we have Michael's. And we have Joann's. Joann's makes me crazy. They have a sale, but they mark something up so high that their sale is just regular price. They want you to think it's a great deal, but let me tell you, most of the time it isn't. I know you can find bargains. And I will say that my Joann's is about to relocate, and I'm hoping that when they relocate, that it will be a better experience. But I've not had the best experiences there. And, you know, Hobby Lobby keeps having these red ticket markdowns, and their craft sections keep getting smaller and smaller. And so when I was in there the other day, I asked the lady, I said, you know, what's up? Don't get me wrong, I love these orange ticket prices, but what's, you know, your craft section is getting smaller and smaller. And this place is called Hobby Lobby, not Home Decor or Us. And she laughed and she said, well, people just don't craft like they used to. And I'm like, I mean, maybe that is true. I don't know. But here's another way that I see that, is that if you are able to have something in stock and mark it down 75%, what do you think would happen if you put an original price on it of 25% less in the first place? Would that bring more people in? Yeah. A sale's a great thing, but it makes me really sad. And I said, this department and the art department is getting smaller and smaller. And she said, yeah, it is. And it's all about the bottom line, you know, which I know that's how things have to stay in business, but it does make me sad, because I'm one of those people that I like to go in and look at something and touch it. And okay, so there that went off into another place. Okay, my favorite YouTube channels, and this is so hard, and I don't even want to go here because I watch so many, and everyone that I watch, I obviously watch them because I love them, and many of them have already been mentioned in other people's videos, and so I'm not mentioning them. I just decided that. I'm not. Now, I will make a list. The people that I tag to do this, obviously, they're on my list of favorites. But that doesn't mean that if you're not on that list, that you're not in my list of favorites. Because you could have already been tagged. You know, I don't know. Anyway, okay. So let me go on. Colors. My favorite colors are bright colors. I love bright colors. I just love anything bright and fun. And that's my jam. My kitchen is bright yellow. My kitchen and hearth room. There is very little beige in my house, just let me say. Very little. There is a little, but it's very little. I love color. Color makes me happy. And that's it. So, there that is. Anything bright, I love it. But I also love vintage. And, you know, vintage is not generally bright, but I mix bright with vintage in my house. So, there's that. My favorite tools. Okay, it has to be my die cutter. Has to be this mat right here, because I can do anything on it and clean it right up, and it looks brand spanking new. It's a Tim Holtz glass mat. I love art glitter glue. I love dimensional foam dots. I love my Tim Holtz scissors. I have them in 3 sizes, and I use all 3 sizes. I don't probably use one more than the other. They are, and these are not them, because I use these scissors to cut things that I usually just cut paper with my Tim Holtz scissors, because I want to keep them pristine. And, you know, I don't know what this stuff does to scissors, but I cut wire and all kinds of stuff with these. Also, I do have a pair of wire cutters right here at my desk, and pliers, and you have to have a pokey tool, you know, for poking out stuff that doesn't fall out. I have a Tim Holtz guillotine trimmer. I love that thing. However, it won't cut a 12 by 12. So I have it on my desk, and I have my big one on my hutch. Let me see. There's a, y'all know, there's a zillion things you love that you use every single day. Okay, so what got me started in my love of crafting? I think I probably already answered that. I couldn't tell you the very first thing I did. Probably paper dolls. Probably reinventing my paper doll dresses and making paper dolls. Probably. And then whatever I could get my hands on. Okay, what is my favorite craft to date? I'm loving Mr. Bones. I think I have to say that Mr. Bones has brought me so much joy, and so much joy in the comments from you guys that, who would think a little plastic skeleton from the Dollar Tree could bring so much joy? But he really does. He's just funny. And Sabrina made me that fabulous one day at the spa, and Mrs. Bones. And she's right here in my craft room, and so every time I glance up, there I see her, and she makes me smile. And what a gift, What a gift. Okay, I think I probably missed one, but I watched Paula's video and I watched Rochelle's video, and I didn't figure out which one it was I missed. So, if I did miss something, I made up for it by yammering on about other stuff. Okay, so this is, I said I wasn't going to do my favorite YouTube channels. Okay, so now I get to tag somebody. 4 or 5 somebodies. So these somebodies have to be somebody that haven't already been tagged. And somebody that I love watching. And so I would love to tag Dina, This Mama Loves Disney. I would love to tag Alicia Wagman, Wagman 510. I would love to tag Cruz, Crafting Coon Cruz. And I would love to tag Sabrina K. Country Crafter. Okay, I'm tagging too many, but I don't care. I also want to tag Jelly Bean Junction, because Jelly Bean has got she's been crafting for years. She has so much talent. She's an amazing crafter if you haven't seen her. And the good thing about this is, if nothing else, and you all don't have to accept this challenge, and you don't have to do this, because it does take up some time, and it takes some thought, and everybody doesn't have time. And I understand that, and that's not a problem. Because at first I was like, oh my, what am I going to say? I know y'all find that funny. But anyway, at least check out their channels, because they're awesome. Also, I'm going to verbally say these other people. Well, I think I will actually write their names down too. Just because. Okay, Ty's Crafty Spot. Ty is amazing. Dawn K Crafts. I met her in person. She's amazing. She doesn't have a whole lot of time, so she probably, I don't know if she'll do it or not. Sweetwater Cards, Marilyn. She makes fabulous, beautiful cards. She's awesome. She's just getting pretty much started on YouTube. Lisa, Made New to Create. Okay, girls, I could go on for days. I'm going to stop right here. So, that's my 10 things about me, plus a whole lot of other hootenanny. And I love you guys. Hope you love my little whirly dirls, and have a super fabulous day. I love you all. Y'all make life sweeter. Blessings.